And we will go ahead and get started. So, hello, thank you for joining us today. I know this was short notice. As many of you know, we have been talking over the past couple of months. You've probably seen some notices come out that NAB is in the process of transitioning our testing company away from PSI Testing Services to Pearson VUE. There's a lot of reasons. It was time for a due diligence to look at many different things, and we solicited bids from select companies who could house the NAB exam program. And after looking at all the options, Pearson VUE was selected by a task force of specialty individuals. It was then presented to the exec committee, who then presented it to the Board of Governors last June. So we're in the final stages of this transition, and that is bringing us to today's call. And we need to bring up some things related to your state exams. All of you on the call have either had us at NAB develop the state exams on your behalf, or most of you have developed your own state exams, and we administer them through our testing network. So with that, I'm going to introduce you. Jonathan Thomas is our examination committee chair. And I've asked, he and I felt like this was important to kind of talk through this with you and let you know what's going to be happening over the next month and a half, so that you understand what's going to happen with your exams. We actually have possession of all of them now, and have those in our hands and have transitioned those to the new testing company securely. But the next step is something we need to have your discussion points and your comfort level to understand how you want to proceed with this. So Jonathan, do you want to start and then I can jump in? Will that work?
Always takes me a minute to get this thing unmuted. So
Okay.
thank you, Michelle. And thank you all for taking the time to jump on the call. Essentially, as Michelle has said, with this transition, we are moving from one platform to another. Even though we do have the exams, we felt like we ought to give the states an opportunity to take a look and make sure everything is pretty much lined up the way you want it lined up, and that it follows the format that you intended for it to have. At this point, we're not looking at any content. We're only looking to make sure that it flowed seamlessly over. So we really got two options at this point. We just want to make sure that the state exams has the integrity that you all anticipate and that you expect in these particular cases, and that we don't leave any stone left unturned. So again, we're not looking at content. We're not doing a deep dive. This is something that I am willing to do on your behalf if you need be, but we felt like we should give you the opportunity to join me, join Michelle on a Zoom call. We will just go through each item one by one and make sure that it is looking, and that's what we're looking at, is the appearance of the exam, if it's looking the way that you intend for it to be. So it's not going to be a long call. It's not an arduous process. We're not looking at content, but it would give you an opportunity to see how the exam lays out in the new platform and make sure that you sign off on it. For those states that don't respond or don't have an opinion, certainly I don't mind doing that on your behalf very quickly, but we felt like since this is your exam, you have the right to take a look at it. So Michelle, did I miss anything on the process?
No, I think it's really just crucial. We wanted to be fully transparent. And that's one thing I will say with Pearson VUE. We are not able to say, oh, that's fine. We're good with it. It'll be fine. They require that every single exam that goes live on their platform has been fully reviewed, including our own. So which is really very comforting to us. So what the options are, and we're going to send out a Survey Monkey, and it'll take you 5 minutes. You just give us your name, your state, and if you're a designated decision maker for your state, you can either say, yes, I authorize Jonathan to do this on my behalf. And again, it's looking at Is the question up here and the choices are way down here where we need the choices moved up? It's more of a formatting thing that they want us to sign off on. We will not be doing grammatical errors at this time, like fixing that stuff. Or, oh, this question is wrong at this point. If you do want a form update once a year, NAB will do that on your behalf. So that can come right now. With the whole transition, we're at a point where we have to get this all moved over, and that can come in January, late January, early February, if you need to do a form refresh. So that can happen. It's just right now, this is simply just to look at making sure everything's in alignment, everything's formatted correctly. Because all of our exams are already live, they're halfway through their cycle. And for your candidates' ease of mind, nothing with the NAB exam is going to change either. We are literally taking it from one platform and continuing the same exam cycle for the year onto the next platform. Nothing is changing. So that's important to note, and the same with the state exams. So what we'll be asking of you after this call, you'll be getting an email from all of us with a copy of this recording. So if you want to rewatch it, asking you how you would like to proceed with this review. It's a pretty quick turnaround. It's within the next 2-3 weeks. We've got to get this done. And we will have longer in the future to do these reviews. It's just the nature of the transition and how this all works. So that's really all that we have to share. But we did want to leave some time for some questions. So that's hence the 30-minute call. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to come off mute. Raise your hand, type it in the chat, whatever you prefer to do.
Michelle, I have a question. This is Patrice from South Carolina.
Hi.
Hi. My question to you is, I know that with PSI that you had before, where we had to go and release scores and go and approve, is there a way that we can do that process a little bit differently where it can be like exported over to you all for those individuals that are approved to take the exam without us having to go in and select them?
You mean like are you talking about, like, let's say you have someone you're approved to take this exam, and when you send that letter, that's your approval, and once they've applied, they're like automatically approved because you've already approved them at the state level. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Kind of like once we submit them their eligibility letter saying that they're approved, they can then go to your Pearson VUE system, submit that information or to show that they've been approved. But on the back end, we probably can get like the IT to work out some kind of system where we can export those individuals over to them, and they'll have a list of those individuals that call in to go ahead and register for the exam. And then when they pass the exam, it's imported directly to us without us having to go and release individuals.
To release the scores.
Right.
Let's talk more about that because
Okay.
you're not the first to ask, and
Okay.
you're not the first to say it's kind of ridiculous that we send them a letter and say they're approved. Why do I have to go in the system and approve them again? And it's been our process for a long time, and so we want to make sure that the states have full autonomy to approve their people. Obviously, we don't want to overstep that.
Right.
But we're having more and more of that because you guys have had a lot of states have already sent them a letter and said you're approved. And then it's kind of double work to go back in and approve them again and then release scores. And it's a lot. So we're definitely amenable to those discussions. We just want to make sure we're not overstepping. So yeah, I think there's ways. I think after we get through this transition, we're looking at a lot of different things with Pearson, which they seem to be very partner oriented and giving us feedback of this is the way we've seen it done other places, and how to streamline it, and they work with a lot of licensing and high stakes testing, other licensing programs, NCLEX, the nursing boards, other people like that. So they've got a lot of really good ideas that would probably work pretty well for us. So I think we have some really some innovative stuff that might be coming out to share with you guys that might work well for NAB.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? I will say another exciting opportunity. We will not do it first upon launch, but it will probably follow soon after. Because of the testing, the ownership factor that Pearson VUE owns the test centers that we will be using. We will not be using a third-party network. We will be working with the Pearson professional centers that are owned by them. It's a higher level of security. It actually will open up the opportunity to potentially test on military bases. So we're exploring that. We're going to get the initial launch done, but we are going to be exploring that soon after launch. So that will be an option for your candidates, especially people who are looking at second careers from the military. So that's going to be an exciting opportunity, especially for those military families who are looking to enter this profession, which we hear a lot that is a common occurrence. Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none, you have my email. If you guys have any questions, feel free that come up after the call. Feel free to email myself and I can relay it to Jonathan. Be on the lookout. In the next little bit, we'll get an email out today. I'm going to load this recording as soon as it's finished transmitting, and we will get that out. The survey will come out. It will give you the deadline to respond. And if you choose to do the review with Jonathan, or that you choose to designate that, we will get that completed either with you or on your behalf. So thank you for joining us, and we will continue working together over the next many years. So thank you so much.
Michelle, if I might can add real quickly, just to reiterate something you said, it doesn't necessarily have to be whoever's on this call. If you all want to designate a board member or someone as a representative, we'll work with whomever you, so maybe in the Survey Monkey, you could put in there who you may want it to be.
Yes, you can do that as well. Thank you, Jonathan, for clarifying that.
Thanks, guys. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.